Hey photographers, this is the first part of the demo for Skill Builder 5, creating a diptych. So first thing you're going to need to do is get the photos for that, which are going to be under Project 5, Skill Builder 5, and then you're going to download these two pictures. So make sure you click on the photo first to make it bigger, and then right click, do Save Image As. Go back and do the same thing for the other photo, and then you're going to go to Photo P. Don't open anything yet, okay? So pause the video, do that if you need to, and then continue on. Now, in Photo P or Photoshop, depending on whichever you're using, before you start this project, you got to visualize what this is going to look like ahead of time, okay? So here are some examples of diptychs and triptychs in both the horizontal and vertical way to visualize them. You don't have to use this exactly, but this can be a guide to help you. I'm just going to shift this down a little bit. So what you really want to think about is like what's the story you're going to tell, and how are you going to lay out your photos to show that? Okay, so maybe you have a horizontal picture and a vertical picture, and your horizontal picture is going to be your main picture that you want people to look at, and your vertical picture is just going to be kind of a supplement for people to look at, okay? Or maybe they have equal importance. So you're gonna have two vertical pictures next to each other. Now, let's say you have two vertical pictures and you want them to lay out next to each other. Notice that you should use a horizontal document for that. If you have two horizontal pictures and you put them on a vertical document, it probably won't fit very well. I'll show you some examples of that in a second. Maybe it makes sense to stack one on top of each other. You could even flip it, like main one on top and supplemental on the bottom, or you could have the story be flipped this way, okay? You could have it vertical. That works really well for two horizontal pictures that have equal importance. If you have two vertical pictures, they're going to be very narrow, which is fine, but just make sure you know that you'll cut off some of your picture when you do this. All right, so visualize this ahead of time. You can use a different layout than this if you want, but the big thing is that they should align on top and bottom, and there should be a small amount of white space in between. All right, with the two photos that we're using, this one right here, which is currently a horizontal photo, and then this one right here, which is also a horizontal photo. Now, this is going to be the main photo. It's going to tell the story of snowboarding on the mountain. And then the other photo is going to be a supplement of what that looks like in addition, the landscape, the trees. And I could show the whole thing, but I don't know that it's that important to show this entire thing. Okay, so we're going to end up using this as a vertical picture and cut off a lot of it. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. All right, so we're going to go into Photo P. Now, normally we would open our pictures to start. When we're doing a diptych or triptych, we actually want to create an artboard, which is essentially like a white piece of paper. You can think about this if you were physically like gluing images on a piece of paper. That's what our artboard is going to be. So we're going to start with New Project. And then we're going to choose Print. So we want to anticipate that we would print this. So we're going to do print, and then we're going to go to letter, so 8.5 by 11. So that's the size we would print it. Now, for new project, you're just going to name this Skill Builder 5. And then you can keep this, like when you're designing this on your own, you could keep it vertical. I'm going to do a horizontal composition, and that's what you're going to do for the Skill Builder as well. So we're going to use the two arrows. We're going to flip this, so now it's going horizontally to put our pictures on, and then we'll keep the DPI at 300. So that's a printing dots per inch. Background's going to stay white, and we'll click Create. Okay, so now we're going to place our images in, and we're going to start, we can get both of them in, so we'll do File, and then Open and Place. If you are on Photoshop, you're going to go, you'll do File, and then you'll do, I think it's called Place Image. All right, we're going to start with the main image. We're going to click Open. That's going to place it in here. It's automatically going to give us that a transform box, which is going to allow us to change the size. So we can see this thin little border going around, and we've got these boxes on the corners and middle as well. So when we do this, we want to keep the proportions correct. So if we just click and drag on the corner and we make this smaller, you can see it's distorting it. And it's really noticeable and very unpleasing to look at if you have distorted images. So I'm going to do Control Z to undo that. And then what we're going to do, and so when I did Control Z, it took off my transform, my change size. So to get to that, we're going to do Edit, Transform, and then Scale. So scale is going to be size. Now this time when we go, we hold Shift. Shift is going to keep our proportions correct. We don't know exactly what size to make this yet. We're just going to kind of get it close. We want to visualize that there'll be one more picture over here, and we want to anticipate using the rule of thirds with this. So this is going to take up 2/3 of the artboard, and our other picture is going to take up about 1/3. So I'm going to make this a tiny bit smaller. And then once I get it to the size I'm looking for, about 2/3 of that, press Enter. Okay, then you want to make sure you're on the Move tool, which is the letter V if you want to hit that on your keyboard, and you can move this up. We want to have one edge all the way to the edge of our paper, our artboard, and then try and get it pretty even white space on the bottom and the top. You can also use the arrow keys, and that'll slightly nudge that up and down. All right, now we're gonna add the next picture in soon, but we're gonna do some fine tuning on this picture first, okay? And that'll be part 2.